for us to have 5 players in double figures, and every player that got in, or that suited up, I guess, today, scored a basket, and lots of people contributing, and it was just a really good team win for us.
Defensively, is that about as good as you've seen out of your team?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably as good as I've seen. Still some room for improvement and things, but I think our kids are starting to kind of lock into our defensive game plan and do a little bit better job of focusing on scouting reports and playing personnel and doing what we want them to do defensively, and we're not quite there yet, but it was a pretty good effort.
Is it a comprehension thing or an execution thing that you feel like needs to go a little further?
I think that our kids are finally, we're getting to a point where we comprehend, and now we just have to be able to kind of execute. And I think, you know, part of that is sometimes just kind of a speed of the game thing, and you know, figuring out how to take that comprehension and then put it into execution.
How about that first 7-minute stretch when it was 21-2? What'd you think there?
I thought, this is awesome. It was a great start. I mean, we talk a lot as a group about the first 5 minutes of the game, the first 5 minutes of the second half being the ones that kind of set the tone for the rest of the afternoon, and I thought that those first 7 minutes we did an outstanding job of setting the tone for the rest of the game.
So, how did you feel about having 5 players in double digits as far as scoring goes?
I feel good about that. I think that, you know, it's kind of a trademark for our team to have balanced scoring, and it's something that we feel like makes us difficult to guard when we have a lot of different people able to contribute. And so whenever I look in the stats and see 5 players in double figures, that's a good thing for the Yotes.
Maybe you look at some of the games that the team you were playing has played this year, they don't look like that bad a team based on what they've done before. What were some things that you took away from them today?
Well, this was a really good team. This is a good team, and I think you're going to see they're going to go on to win some games in their league and have a good season. I think that, you know, one thing we were fortunate, I felt like tried to start the ball game in a triangle and 2 and trying to really take Rachel and Nick out of things, and I understand because those are 2 explosive guards, but that balance that we talked about makes it so difficult to do that, and I think we were able to come at them and have, you know, Kelly Stewart spark us with 12 points in that first half, and you know, Margaret and everybody else kind of stepping in and contributing, and I guess, you know, Nick, even though she's being, you know, triangle and 2 kind of denied face guard, still had 11 points at halftime and was able to get some things effective. And I just think that's a credit to our kids, just being able to attack and buy in and set good screens for each other and make good plays for each other.
You jump out to a lead like that, and obviously with, you know, your numbers this year, 10 deep pretty much, at least right now, and so to be able to kind of, you know, soften the minute load on that starting 5 a little bit because of where you were at probably serves you well going forward.
It does serve us well, especially right now in the stretch that we're in. You know, we're playing the second game out of 3 in a matter of like 6 days or something like that, or 5 days or something. So it's kind of critical in that type of a run to be able to spread those minutes out and be able to kind of keep everybody a little more fresh and ready to go. So I think that was good to see. And then I thought the best thing about it is that our bench didn't come in just to take minutes. They came in and produced and contributed and made something happen and gave us a spark here or there, or made a hustle play here or there, and that's what we expect, is that the bar is going to be raised when they come in and not just kind of sustain.
Looking ahead to Valpo, like you said, another game in just a couple of days, and it's a team you beat there last year, but what do you expect out of that one on Tuesday?
Good question, Jay. I expect a dogfight, and you know, I have an assistant coach who has a scouting report all done and has watched a bunch of film. But for me, I really wasn't looking past this Cal State Fullerton team. It was a team that I was very concerned about, as Mick kind of alluded to. They've played some really good games, 3 road wins here in the last couple weeks, and so, you know, I've watched every game they've played, every minute, a couple times, forwards, backwards. I feel like so now it's time to do that on Valpo for the next 24 hours, lots of film. So.
It doesn't seem like you really have a rotation no matter what set of girls you have in there there just seems to be good chemistry right now. Even tonight, some five-player substitutions a couple times. Have you had a team like that before that just so many interchangeable parts?
Well, I do feel like as a head coach, I've always worked to try to work to about a 9-player rotation or 10-player rotation, or to try to get that that work. Now, certainly, I'm not Calipari trying to get my platoons and 5-for-5, and that's not been the strategy. But tonight today it kind of worked out that way, just trying to work for minutes and being able to be efficient with playing a few minutes at a time, and then it worked out where we'd have 5 going in for 5. But we've spent a lot of time in the first month of practice mixing our lineups, playing these players with these players, and trying to make kind of equal competition, and not necessarily putting our starters versus our second team or whatever per se, and I think that helps to establish some of that chemistry where they get a chance to play with everybody, all of their teammates.
Any other questions?
Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, guys.